This is Julia with iCadenza, and I'm here with the incredible Martin Katz, who is a collaborative pianist and coach, and I'm so excited to be here with you.
Thank you very much. Incredible. I haven't been called incredible before.
I'm
It's
sure
not-
you have.
No, I haven't. I'm really pleased. Thank you.
Well, good.
I feel unworthy of the title, whatever.
No, I completely, I believe it fully.
Thank you.
My first question for you is actually, how did you end up going into collaborative piano, and why did you choose that instead of a solo piano career?
I studied piano since I was 5, so like everybody else, I was going to be a pianist and all that. But I was never really a happy kid. I didn't have a lot of friends, and I was stuck in my room practicing all the time. And when I got to high school, somebody said, you ought to audition for the choir and play the piano for the choir. And I did, and I'm a good reader, and I prepare music pretty quickly, and even back then. And so I was accepted, and suddenly I had 50 close friends who all thought I was incredible, as you said. And my whole social life changed, and even my musical life changed. I got a musical life, and I began to play little engagements for some of these singers if they would have to sing for a ladies' club or a Rotary club or, something like that, or for graduation even. And I realized this is really what I love to do. I didn't know whether it was called collaborative. Nobody was calling it collaborative back then. You were just accompanying somebody. And when people are praising you for what you're doing, your passion just increases fourfold. And I just began to eat it up like crazy. Then when I got to college at USC out here in Los Angeles, the majors you could list, the majors you could choose were listed in alphabetical order. And the major accompanying, is what it was called, was listed first because of the alphabet. And I was going to be a piano major, but then I thought, accompanying, because my eyes saw that first. That's what I do really well, that's what I love doing. So I checked the little box for that. And then as far as I knew, I was on that track forever, and I've been on that track for 40-something years.
What an amazing story.
Isn't it ridiculous?
That's so wonderful.
But the high school choir thing, I don't think I'm alone. I know a lot of my colleagues who do the same thing I do. That's when they first realized there were other people out there who loved music and singing the same way I did and they did. So that's what happened.
When you speak in your master classes, you talk about the importance of what the pianist does in terms of inspiring the singer to do to sing in a different way. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, we are one item, the singer and I, or the violinist and I, or the cellist and I. And I always think that we are the psychology of the singer just before she sings a text. Like if you're going to say, I love you, you have to think first, gee, I love you, and then you utter the words. And usually I have music to play while you're doing that thinking. So I have to play it in a way that makes you say those words. Those should be the only words you could say after whatever I do, kind of thing. So I like to create no difference between the singer and myself, that the audience can't tell where her feelings and my feelings are divided, because they aren't divided.
And you are just a wealth of information about the song literature, the song repertoire. Can you talk about, is there one piece or a couple of pieces maybe that you found surprising when you really researched them, or that you find the story behind them or about them particularly striking?
Well, I remember out here, actually, where we're located right now in California, I was teaching a class here for Songfest, and a lady brought a Bizet song, I think either Bizet or Gounod, I don't remember. I hope it wasn't you, that I've forgotten you. And it was somebody singing about a young lady being carried away by the waves, and she's now with God and all that stuff. And I think the poem was by Victor Hugo. I'm sorry, I can't remember the title of the song. And the singer informed me that Victor Hugo's daughter had drowned to death just like a week before he wrote this poem, and this was a response to that dreadful drowning. And then the whole song not only made sense to me, but it gave me a reason even to do it, because it's not a great song, but when you know that behind it, it kind of ennobles the whole thing. There probably are lots more that I'm not able to just think of right this second. Usually the poem itself, the text of the song or the text of the aria, it kind of tells you what you need to know. If it's from an opera, of course, it's easier because you get the whole story. You can just say, where am I in the story? With a song, you have to build your own story most of the time. But in a way, that's liberating because any story is okay as long as it makes the words make sense.
What do you think is the most misunderstood song or aria?
Oh, those are dangerous questions. Most and least and best and stuff. I don't like those.
What is a
What
song?
is one thing?
What is one misunderstood piece?
Well, I just worked 5 minutes ago on a piece for a guy to sing, a bass baritone to sing, and it's about the famous character Don Quixote. And this is a song by Ibert, the great French composer. And it's Don Quixote's song of death. He's leaving the world. He's been wounded and he's sick and he's old and all that stuff. And as is typical, the fellow I was working with, the young singer, was singing it kind of pathetically and poor me and the world never understood me and boo-hoo, boo-hoo kind of thing. And my feeling was, no, this is a nobleman, even though everybody was against him and they spurned him and threw things at him, made fun of him. But in his heart, he was, what is Don Quixote? I am I, Don Quixote. Isn't that from Man of La Mancha? He's very convinced of his own nobility and his right to be who he is and how he is. So we kind of transformed the song into something to be sung like this as opposed to something to be sung like this, That's just one example.
It's a great example.
I hope so.
Sounds like a great example. Well, I actually wanted to ask you, you also conduct. What do you find to be the difference between, what do you think is the role of a conductor? And how is that different from a collaborative pianist?
Oh yeah, it's unbelievably different. Although, many conductors in opera have started out as collaborative pianists and then gone the route of conducting, same as I've done. The piano is a very direct instrument. When I touch the key and push down, it plays, and I know that it's going to. When I give a downbeat, I hope and pray that someone's going to do what I'm asking, because I can't make that violinist touch the string. I have to be confident enough in my beat and what I'm showing them that they're going to do it. I could also go like this and nothing would happen. That would be highly embarrassing, as you would imagine. So the lack of directness, the lack of physical control over what's coming out is very scary for someone who's used to an instrument that behaves directly. But the upside of it is that the colors and the orchestra's ability to sustain notes, whereas the piano dies away right away as soon as you play a note, it's an incredible playground for someone like me with all kinds of toys in it that I never get to experience as a pianist, especially when I do opera, because I've worked on opera from the keyboard for my whole professional life, but I'm always imitating the orchestra. When I conduct, I am the orchestra, so it's like the real thing. It's very thrilling. It's still the newest component of my professional life. Maybe 15 years I've been doing it compared to 40. And so I'm still like a kid in a candy store about it, but I also have some fears about it still. I'm glad I'm doing it, though. It's really fun to do.
Can you talk a little bit about energy and what role you think that plays as a pianist? How do you infuse your playing with energy and with such specific energy?
It's kind of you to say that, and I get that comment a lot. Like after a class or something. Gee, for 3 hours you were so energetic and stuff, and it's difficult for me to answer that because I don't know what it's like not to have it. For me, the music is so exciting. It's such fuel for my thoughts and my feelings and everything that I wouldn't disrespect it by not bringing everything I've got to it. Even a piece that doesn't sound energetic, like maybe a lullaby or a piece about a trance, something very seemingly dead. But if you're on stage, that's not like being on live. You have to be larger on stage. I remember Bette Davis, the great actress, once was asked on a talk show, what if you have to play bored on the stage? What if you have to play boredom? She said, yeah, but boredom on the stage is so theatrical, And that really spoke to me, that everything on the stage is larger, smaller, wider, narrower than just you and I sitting here talking, you know?